Alright, I'm going to show you kind of how I was doing and how I did it to get to this point. Um, Get over a couple of things with this, including the tool to use it. I'll pop over on that. So I'll start with, of course, Elden Ring Reforge. So Elden Ring Reforge, that is what everything is based off of. And then we're going to merge in the Army of Summons on top of that, or into it, I guess we should say. But I've done no balancing. I'm literally just taking this, mashing it into Reforge. So that's how we're gonna go. So we're working on version 2.1.2.3 and 1.4.9. So that's what we'll be working with. I haven't really done a lot of Reforge, so I haven't done a clean playthrough. I haven't really played Reforge, so if you have any issues and stuff, I don't know if I'd be able to fix it. I think I got most of it functioning after doing a few things, but for the most part, it's just kind of thrown in with it. So if it breaks something, I'm sorry. But that is what happens when you mix this kind of stuff. Nice thing with all summons here, it's pretty straightforward. It's not crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and re-download, so it's a recent one. Let me do another thing with ultimate summons here in a little bit, but I'm gonna just download that, so I have to dig through my downloads again. But so we're gonna get a couple of things. Obviously the two mods, but what you're gonna need is, and what I've been using is smithbox actually. It's a little more manual, but it's really nice. In order to get that, you're gonna download 2.1.0 is what I'm using for this video. We're gonna scroll down, and you're gonna download the zip here. I do believe actually, yep. Ta-da! I just did this because this is my third time doing the video, because I kept fixing things or figuring things out after I would finish a video. So I've been doing this for a minute, but so that's everything that's in there. So we're gonna go kind of over that. Your Elden Ring, I'm doing it through Steam, but your Elden Ring usually is only going to show game into the vanilla, so we're not going to be doing anything in here. We're going to leave that. Um, I'll just go from scratch as if you haven't played this before or modded. So what we're going to do is we're going to snag our, oops, no, don't open that one. Close that. What we're going to snag here is, this is the Elden Ring Reforge. You can put these kind of anywhere, but what I like to do is set them right next to the game. So you would click and drag over, drop it off, and that would give you this folder. So that's the first thing. The next thing I would recommend you do is set up a new folder called Finalizing Tools. So I had a bunch of ones I was messing with, those and doing things. So you're going to want to set up another folder called Tools, and then I made another folder called smithbox, or I missed the M, so it's now smithbox. Leave it at that. And then I made inside that a folder called core. When you download smithbox, it comes into all loose files and folders. So I dumped that into core. Next thing I did is I found the exe, right click, copy. I'm using Windows 10. You might be on 11, it should be around the same thing. And then paste the shortcut. That way you don't have to go into it. Next thing I did is I created a projects folder. This is where we're going to do a lot of stuff as a project. So I would go in here, and I'm going to do this real quick. We're going to do, I'm going to make a video here for the video. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a reforged, all summons. So these are the two we're going to run. What we're going to grab from here is out of Reforge. We're going to open this up. We're going to go into the mods folder. I'm going to open the Reforge folder. What I want is the regulation bin. I'm going to move that over. And message MSG. So, fortunately, this is not MSG free, so your viewing content might be salty. I don't know. But, so we need those two for the Reforged into there, and we're going to do the same with all summons. I did the regular, so I don't know if you noticed, but the all summons that I grabbed is I didn't get the Spirit Ash. I did without. I didn't really think much of into it. I just kind of grabbed it. It looks nice. I've got, I think, a screenshot on the page now. But if you wanted there, you could grab this Spirit Ash color if you wanted. And I don't think there's too much difference between the two of them, but it should be the same across the two and how we're going to do this. Okay, so same thing. Now he's got already smithbox stuff in there. We're going to ignore that. What we want is the regulation bin and the message folder. We're going to pop those into there. The parts folder, we're going to pause here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to run back into the Reforge folder. We're going to go to mods and parts. So a lot of these mods that have parts, they're going to collide. I haven't done much merging or anything really with the parts folders, but the nice thing with this mod is none of the parts folders actually collide with the Elden Rings. Oh, so let me actually, so I'm going to do this instead here. I'm going to pause it real quick just to kind of show you in Reforge at least. Actually, we can just do it here. So I went through one by one with these AM_M files. That's 1655, 588. So I went through and looked through each one. They all have different letters. You're going to have to check to see if these are going to collide or anything. But the really cool thing about this is neither one did. So I was able to just move the parts folder, which is why you need to go and download this, because I'm not going to include his. And it would be nice that he would continue to get the downloads for his mod. So I only gave you the edits I did. So you're going to need to download his, and you're going to need the parts folder, and you can drag that into go to your Reforge mod and then throw the parts into that, and it shouldn't overwrite anything. You'll be fine. You can just throw it in there. It's not overwrite anything from Reforge, which is really nice. This is not really how they intended you to run things with it. There is an add-ons, but the add-ons, if you go through the README, the add-ons are really for real simple cosmetic stuff. If it's a regulation bin, it's most likely not going to work, and that's where you're going to have to do what I'm doing now with the regulation bins. So that's done downloading. So once we get that all set up, we're going to need to get this set up. So now I've got projects. I did an extra folder because I need to separate what I'm doing, so because all the other edits and stuff I did, but we're going to start fresh with this. So we're going to launch smithbox. This is it. This is all you get to see. This is everything right here. So we're going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is, you can see my previous projects. You won't see these here whatsoever. So we're going to click on new project. We're going to name it. I'm going to do, for the video, Reforged Elden Ring. Now your data directory needs to go to the default version of the game. So mine's Steam, CMAT's common. So once I go in here, common, then we go to Elden Ring, I click game, select folder. So that's what the data directory needs to be, is your default game. The project directory, that is what we're going to be editing. So we're going to go back, we're going to go to tools, smithbox, project. I would normally say put them here, kind of like how I've done. But for the video, I'm going to go one more folder. So, and then we're going to do select Reforge. So now I have Reforge create. This is going to start loading. I'm not an expert with this program, but it's going to start loading. It'll actually load up on this entire screen here, not very long. Takes a minute. This little arrow will open that up. Kind of see what's going on. So it's actually going through, reading everything. There we go. So all the tutorial videos I had, they had a different menu on the side. This is what the latest one looks like. I haven't changed the look of it. So, but what we're going to be messing with is two things: the parameter editor, or param editor, and text editor. This is where we're going to get into a couple of things with this. These green and yellow ones here are going to be the edits that have happened. Obviously you'll see errors. That's fine. That's just how it's going with some of it. But if it's green, it's been edited in some way. Usually it changes like the speed of the weight. So as far as I can tell, the far right column is the default over here, and then the left is where the changes were done. So you can see where he changed, like the absorption be physical, but made it a little heavier. Along with some resistances and stuff have been bumped up quite a bit on some of it. So, but that is where all this stuff is. You can spin through. You can actually change quite a few things through here. If you go through weapons, poison dagger. So yeah, a couple of things, mess around, weights, whatnot. But that's pretty much the parameters. This is in the regulation bin here. So, all right, now we're gonna add the next one. Let's do all summons. Again, we gotta pick Elden Ring. You can name it all summons or Elden Ring all summons. You can do the full thing. I would probably recommend you do also the versions on them, just so when you're editing, because the regulation bins will change with each version. So maybe add the version of what you're working on there. I'm probably going to go through later and add the versions I'm working with, but we're going to go in here. Now we're going to select on the new one, all summons, create. That's going to load up that regulation bin and the message, the text documents. The messages are the MSG. That is a lot of the text and stuff you see on the screen, from loading screens to menus to descriptions of items and stuff. So if the mod isn't playing nice or isn't moved over correctly, it will give you a question mark, edit text, question mark, and gives you issues and stuff. So, but first we're going to start with this. This pops up. I don't recommend you do anything. There is a way to do this over here. Where was it? Yep, there's this one here, the upgrader, so you could update it to the most recent one, but we're not going to mess with this because we're just taking changes here and put it to the other one. This was for 1.16.0, but the new version of the game is 1.16.1, so we don't have to worry about as much, so I wouldn't worry about upgrading that. Some of the videos I ran into, once you do this, the merger, but I've had no luck with this. Maybe for simple stuff, but we're going to manually do it. I don't recommend you use this. I've tried it, it's kind of finicky, so instead we're going to do something different. We're going to manually do some stuff. But what we need is we need to get the edits from this, because part of what it does when it merges, it pulls over some of the default stuff. When I was doing the convergence mod, it was overriding a lot of and getting rid of a lot of the modded stuff and basically taking this and almost making this the mod. So I watched the regulation bin file go from 2800 kilobytes down to 2200 kilobytes. So that's when I had to dig around. I found we have to manually do it. So what we're going to do here, try to stop saying modified. So just modified, modified. So we want only the modified changes. So we've got a few here. I'm going to go ahead and close that. We're going to start getting to some less here. So we need the CSV. So some of the mods have for merging CSV files for merging. That's what these are. These are just their edits they've done so that you can quickly add them in, import them. We have to do one by one. So a little bit of elbow grease in here is going to take a minute. It's going to probably take a second. I'm probably not going to slow this video down, so it's going to be the full thing. Last video I did was 40 minutes, so it's probably going to be about that length of time for us to do this. So, but we need to generate each one of these one by one. These are, and we want just the data lines that he modified. That's where we want to get to. So how we're going to do this, once I've already done that, what we're going to do here is I'm going to move that out of my way. It's going to come here, modified. I like to copy this, Control C. That way we're stuck with modified. So modified up here, modified here. You have to do for each one, but do it one at a time so you know what you did. So click on here, hit Control plus A. That will select all of them. So make sure you're in the all summons, by the way. So Reforge is our base mod. What we want to do is we're trying to create CSV files from all summons. So we're going to Control A, select all of these here that have been modified. Right up on the top underneath the param editor, we're going to click on Data. We're going to export CSV, selected rows, export to file, export all fields. That's going to open up the window. We are in the folder. I would recommend you leave it in the folder, on the folder you're working in. Next, we're going to name it. I'm going to name this exactly the same as what it is in over here in the regulation. So this is the buddy param. I'm going to save that. So I'm going to do that for each one. Modified, Control A, data, export, selected rows, to file, all fields, and then we're going to type in the name and hit save. init param. This makes it easier because when we go to import, it's just going to ask you what file, and you have to select the file. So if you have the name of it already on there, it makes it a lot easier to know which one you need to grab. So Control V again, Control A, or you can just type it in, modified. So Control A, that has selected all of the modified ones. Again, data, export, selected rows, to file, all fields, and then we're going to type in the equip param goods. Equip param goods, save that. Now we're going to do the protector. I'm just going to go through one at a time. Control A, data, export, all, selected, file, all fields. Whatever mod you're working on is probably going to end up having different lines and edits. I'm currently messing with doing another merge, but it's pretty deep. I'm not sure how far I can get with it. It's pretty intense. I'll actually pull it up here. I'm gonna try work on this one, Ultimate Summons, and it's got instead of just being parts, message, and regulation, it's got scripts and actual param files, and yeah, it's got a few extra things in there, so I have to look into changing a few more things with that one for another person. But for this one, it's pretty straightforward. There's another one I was working on that it was, I'm going to save that. Another one I was working on, and it was just the regulation bin, and that's like it changes just the vanilla summons. That one was just the regulation file. That was super easy. You copy, put it over. You basically applied its changes all over top of the other mods changes, and then that was it. We're done. Convergence I didn't think messed with any of the vanilla ones, so it made it easier. But modified data, export, select rows, file, all, and then equipped a weapon, save NPCs. So, yep, we're just gonna keep doing this for each one. I'm gonna speed up just a little bit. PC param, save that. So, the reason that we're doing it this way is because if you were to just do all of it, there's a chance you could drop something on that would actually overwrite the mod we're trying to keep intact. So we're trying to apply this on top of Reforged, and if we weren't doing just the specific changes, it's a chance that we would end up having to restart from scratch because it would overwrite all the other stuff the authors from Reforged had done. So we want to avoid doing that. Some mods do edit a lot of the same stuff. Yep, we're gonna do that. Think param, yep. Not all of them, to file. There could be a faster way to do this, but this is just the way I do it, because then I know what I have been doing. I'm sure there's a wizard at this program, and he'd be like, oh, you just click this button, and that's magically done, and it could just save me quite a bit of time, but this is how I know how to do it. This is probably how I would recommend it, because then you know exactly what's being done. This is show effects. We have two here. You gotta wait for that window to close. I know you saw this here up on the top kind of hung up for a little bit. Wait for that to close, because if you start clicking around while it's thinking, it just crashes the program. You gotta start over. So be a little bit patient with it. Let it finish loading. You don't want it to crash and have too many issues. Okay, base program, save, and then once it closes, it's done. There. All right, we finished. That was all summons. So now we have all of those, of all these specific ones. What we are going to do is click on project on the top left, and select a project, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to, you'll have just the one down here, and so it'll be in this for the video that we did for the video Reforged. I'm going to select this. It was already previously loaded, so now we can see this. So I would recommend that when you do that, tools, smithbox, project, then we're going to open all summons. So here's all the CSV files. So we're going to keep these in mind when we're doing this. So I'm going to shrink this down so we can see, oh, at least you can see what I'm doing here. So what we're going to find is the, let's open up so we can actually see what's happening with all of it. Okay, so got the files right here. I have a second screen, but I'll put it there for the sake of being able to see what's happening. So what we're looking for is the first one, which is going to be the buddy param. We're going to find it here on the left. Make sure you click on it. So make sure it's selected. You can double click on it. Won't do anything. I can click a million times, but double click on it. Make sure we're in there. We're going to click on data. Now we're going to switch to import from a file, all fields. We're going to select buddy parameters and click open. You might have seen that jump right there, all the numbers. That means it did jump in there. Some of them you won't see any changes, but you will. So now we're going to find the next one we're looking for here. And next file is buddy stone param. That one's actually down here. So we're going to select that. Data, import, CSV, from a file, all fields, buddy stone parameters. Okay, I'm going to jump that in. Next is the character one. Click on that. Yep, that should have jumped over. Character, yep, we're going to do that one. Just make sure it's doing it right. Import from a file, all fields, character, open. Do each one at a time. This is the goods. That's fine to see the errors. Import, file, all fields. Now we're going to do goods, open. Protector's the next one. Data, import, file, fields. Let's go ahead and grab protector, which is armor. Weapon, import from file, fields. Now we pick the weapon. I double clicked it. That works the same, but yeah, you click your file, fields, weapon, then open. So that changes are in there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the face. That's all the way down on the left side underneath general. Just like the buddy stone. Import fields, face parameters. Okay. And then we're going to do MPC. We're back up here. Data, import from file, fields, MPC. Almost there. See thinking, data, import from file, all fields. We're going to grab the thinking. Then we're going to do shop lineup recipe. Data, import from a file, all fields. Shop lineup parameter recipe. And then the last is the special effects parameters. There we go. Data, import from a file, all fields, special, and there we go. All right, so save. Go to File, Project Maps, down arrow, but click Save, Control S. If you click this arrow, you'll see it up top, but it has been saved. Save that. So next thing we need to do is we need to do in the text editor. So we're going to switch over to the text editor. This is going to be interesting. This one's a little bit different. This one took me a second to finally figure it out. But now we're going to go back to, for the video, the all summons and the text. So this one's a little bit different. This one, the same thing, we're going to put in modified. And this one we have to do one at a time. In the common, there's nothing there in the common, so we're good there. Blocked worlds, nothing. Menu. I click here and use my down arrow key. If anything pops up, it will pop up here. So we're going to scroll through. I'm going to go kind of fast through here, but if we find something, we do need to, kind of like we did before, we need to export it. So nothing there. Let's open up item. All right, first thing we do is we see stuff. So we're going to need these. This is the text. So we have the title, summary, description, effects. Some of these will not have a description in them whatsoever, but this is essentially information for ID information. So the game knows what to give you. If you don't have these and these are gone, and you have just the title, that's where you get the question mark, line of text, question mark. Uh, that's an error saying there's nothing there. So, but we're gonna go through. So goods has one, good to know. We're gonna scroll down. So nothing else in the base here. All right, let's go DLC1, weapons. Using my down arrow keys. Oh, we got one line in character. One line in weapon effects. That's kind of just descriptions for the menu. And anything in DLC2? Nothing. All right, so we're going to start with goods. So that's three things we have to grab. So I like to do this one. You can't really grab all. You kind of have to select. So let's see how it says export selected text file. There's one that's also modified. So I go through, click on the top one, and then scroll over the bottom and shift click on the bottom here. I'm gonna make this big. I click export text. So once I have it all selected, because Control A doesn't work on this, I've tried. Control A did nothing. So make sure you scroll to the top, click the top one, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then hold Shift and left click. That'll select everything. And then I like to export selected text entries. Okay, so there's really no name in here. So what we need to do is let's do English base goods. So it's the uh, English item. English language, you might have to put this, some mods are in multiple spots, but English, it's in the item, not the menu, but it's in the item. It's in the base section, and it's on the text of goods. We're going to export that. Magical. All right. Next, we need to do that for Black Gold Knight. Let's select that. Export selected. This one in time is going to items, but this time it's the it doesn't want to let me to. Okay, we'll do caps lock. DLC 1. We have characters. Going to export. Okay, and then let's keep going. Weapon effects. And this should be our last one. Should selected. There might be a better way to do this, but it's going to be a lot of legwork. But I found that this is the safest way to do this. I'm having to use cap lock because it won't let me shift it. Freaked my screen out a little bit. So we're going to do an English item DLC 1 weapon effects. That is our last one. There's 3 of them there. So some of these games, most of these mods are going to have descriptions and stuff, so you're going to end up doing this for a few of them. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. It gets pretty quick once you know what's happening. But so now we have those. Now where did they go? That is the question. Took me a second to find these, but we're in the all summons, but need to open up smithbox. Workflow exported text. That's where that's at. You can copy these out if you want and move them up. I would probably just leave them in there exported, but that's where they're at. If you want to change, add something in here where we could actually, let's do this. Smithbox, workflow, copy exported text, and move it up to your main one. Because we're going to have to grab those here in just a second. So all summons, that's our exported text. It's ready for us. So we're going to come back over to the program. Then we're going to go for the video. We're going to do Reforged again, select. So this is where we're going to go in here and do the same thing. So we're going to hit item. I'm going to click on goods. I'm going to right click on that and import text. I was doing append. I would try doing append first. It was giving me issues. So I ended up doing replace, do append. That's kind of a soft, just kind of set over the top. But if it's giving you issues, you can try. So let's do, for this video, we'll do append from external, exported. So English item, yep, we're in base, we're in goods, select that, hit open. It'll take just a second for it to do stuff, so be patient with it. We're waiting here. So some of the files are bigger than others. It threw that in. We can do modified. So these are what this mod did. If you notice, there's suddenly a different set of text. What we did, it's got a lot, so we're going to keep scrolling until we find, here's some of the text for the mods. So the append did work for us. So that's been added, so now we can read what they are in the crafting menu. And they are there. So next we need to go and do the next one. So, and that's going to be the DLC one down here in this menu here. Characters. I'm going to select that, make sure it's selected, right click it, import text, append from external file, characters, open. So that one did apply, that one. That actually is, append's working. The previous one I was doing wasn't letting me, so I'm glad append is working. So always go for append first when you're doing this. We'll do weapon effects next. Open, and there it is, popped up right up on top. So if you leave modified in there, it'll keep it and you can see if it changes. But this is the best way I found to do this. So again, file, I just click save all. Saved all modified text files. So there it is. It's saved to that file. So everything is done. So for that was everything we needed to modify so far in a reforged. So our regulation bin and our, I'm going to call it the message, they've been combined. So now we're going to move on to the next step. So I'm going to grab these, right click, we're going to hit copy. We're going to go back, all the way back, and we're going to go into our Reforged folder. We're going to open up mod, and this is where we're going to paste and overwrite everything that was in Reforge. We're going to replace these files in these locations. So you'll click yes on that, you overwrite it, so that'll go in there, and then make sure that you've added in the parts. So once you overwrite those, make sure you grab you go over to, oh my gosh, I sure realized I don't even know the author's name. So we're going to head over here. We're going to head over to Joey Fox here. We're going to head over to the summons. We're going to download his 1.49, which you already did. And then we're going to grab parts, and you're just going to slide and drop parts into here. Whoops, into here. And then you should be good to go. I would recommend you launch from offline seamless. You don't want to wreck people's games. I don't know if the online, because Reforged did some serious work with their online. So I would grab an offline and seamless and set up the seamless to play with you and your friends if you are playing with some buddies of yours. But that is how I've done my merging of my mods and stuff. So I just finished doing some of the text merging on my other giant bash patch I did for merging patch for oh gosh, what is it called? Convergence. Yeah, so I just finished doing that. I'm going to set up another one where I add another mod, another request one. So I'm going to be doing that. But that one, like I was saying, is a lot more involved. So, but yeah, these guys did fantastic work on these mods. So make sure you guys, if you enjoy it, endorse them. I'll say that it does help. Some of the guys really enjoy seeing that. Obviously, there's been a few downloads with Reforge, and Armory Summons, he's had a few downloads also. So fantastic mods. I like them. I enjoy them. I sometimes like to cheese a game out, and other times I like to make myself suffer, but it's always nice if once I get stuck I can summon all the bosses and unfortunately hurt some guys. But that is essentially how I merge those together. Yeah, as far as I know, smithbox will actually do a lot of your stuff you need to do and just kind of change out some of the projects and stuff. So it can get pretty intense with some of it, but I hope that helps and kind of helps you in future projects. I'm not too sure with animations and stuff. Animations is a bit different. Reforge though, nice thing with Reforge, as long as it's not the regulation bin, you should be able to just add anything in there. But if you are dealing with regulation bin, I'm not sure how that will work. You could look at adding, it might work. I don't see, yeah, it might work to add to set up this one. Reforge has the option to put in there, so go in there and add the files in for that mod, and then just merge the regulation bins. But any message stuff, when I did that, it was causing issues with the text in the game. So, so any serious things are kind of rough. Any cosmetic stuff like that, it says on the README, it's a little better for this mod. But yeah, so hopefully that helps. If you guys kind of figure out what's going on. Again, with the red text up here, don't worry about that. I'm saying it's just not up to the most current one. It's checking against the vanilla game, but don't worry about it. But yeah, I hope that helped. Hopefully you guys can enjoy your playthroughs and your merging of your other mods, and hopefully that helps at least get you started with some of the more basic ones. So. I want to show some things in the game. One, if you got it done right, you should see the names of these points here before these are question marks. And when you open up, you'll see the name and there's an item effect, the description there. So just wanted to show that real quick.